Hey everybody, welcome to part 3 on my speaker review on Louise Hay's Conversations on Living. If you haven't watched the first part was all about what was it about? Fear, mirror work, and affirmations. I went into a deep analysis of what Louise Hay talks about and what it means to, like, what do affirmations mean? How to use affirmations. So that's part 1. And then part 2 begins talking about disease. And we got up to, so we relate disease to different body parts. So you can go ahead and watch part 1 because we talked about the head, eyes, mouth, teeth, and now we're going to be talking about the throat. Here it is. All right, so the throat is an avenue of expression. So the throat is actually an energy center, and the energy center is of I am, I have, I want, and I will. This is where our creativity flows. This is also where the energy center or chakra will change, where changes take place, and we have the right to speak up. So the throat chakra is really important, and this means a lot to me. So when I first started meditation, I actually in meditation saw this really beautiful color, blue, and I was like, where is this blue coming from? And then I realized that this like big speck of blue was related to my throat chakra. Now, I can usually feel when my throat chakra is starting to close up, and the way I can feel it, the way I feel it is like I begin to, my throat feels closed up. It begins to feel closed up, and that's a sign for me that I am not speaking my voice and I'm not sharing. But here are some other signs that your throat chakra may be closing up, and that's laryngitis. And laryngitis is when you're so mad that you can't speak. A sore throat is often anger. So start looking at yourself from not only a medical perspective, but look at it from a different perspective. Like, why is your throat sore? My son just had a really sore throat, and he was he's a teenager. He is holding on to a lot of anger. And I knew that it was more anger than illness. Like, I knew he wasn't sick. It actually cleared up within a day and a half, just giving him salt water gargles. But I knew it was some sort of anger that he was holding on to. And when I spoke to him about it, it actually came out that, yeah, he was angry that he had nowhere to expend his energy. He wasn't playing football. He had been away for Christmas for 2.5 weeks and not doing any physical activity. So he held, because his body couldn't move, he held on to all of that as anger. And it represented itself as a sore throat. All right, the next, thyroid problems have to do with creativity. Once again, often these people are suppressing their own creativity and do instead what their mother, father, husband, wife would see fit. So thyroid problems are often a suppression of your own creativity, and you don't live your life in your way and the way your higher self would want you to live your life, in your highest path. You live your life in assumptions of what you think is going to make your mom, dad, husband, or wife, whomever, feel good. Shoulders carry the weight of the world. Other people's problems. For those of you that have shoulder aches, you are holding on to other people's problems. Think about that. Look at your life. Go and do an observation. I will also do a video on how to observe your own life. It is such an important thing to do. It's all part of mindfulness. Arms and hands hold and embrace ideas, events, and situations. Arm problems usually mean that there is some experience that is difficult to embrace. See how important it is to look at our thoughts deeper and understand where our feelings are coming from? It's the hardest thing to do, but it's so important. Lower part of the arms, abilities, upper. So the abilities of your upper arms is capacity. Often caregivers will experience upper arm tension as things become too much. So when they begin feeling burnout, Caregivers will often feel a lot of tension, ache, soreness in their upper arms, in the muscles. You will also notice these people often are holding on and grasping their hands almost lovingly, like so. They're doing this with their hands often. Hand problems mean there is something that you are having difficulty in handling. So you're not saying that you're having a hard time. Let's say if you're a caregiver, you feel so obligated to do this for your mother, for your father, for your child, that you are not voicing your difficulty in handling it, and it'll show in your body because your body needs nurture and care. So often caregivers will embrace their own limbs. Fingers have to do with details. So sometimes when one finger is sore, you need to look at like, okay, what details am I skipping over or not looking at? What is going on? Your back is the support of life. Back problems, we usually feel as though we are not supported in life. Upper back has to do with feeling of lack or emotional support. Isn't that interesting? Upper back, lack or emotional support. Really look at that. I want you to pay attention to that if you have upper back problems. Mid back, guilt. Oh, mid back is always guilt. Who is making you feel guilty? Is somebody else or are you? What is going on? Lower back is always finances. The sciatic nerve is almost always money fear developed in childhood. Has nothing to do with how much you have, but with perception of lack. I went through this. I had sciatica when I was pregnant with my son. And then all of a sudden a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I would say, my sciatica came back. And it was so crazy because when I started looking at, because I knew sciatica is money fears developed from childhood, and it actually helped me. I started releasing, I went right back to that. I pinpointed that time in my life, in my childhood, where my family kind of looked at me and shunned me from making money, or that, you don't need that much. Like, you don't take from other people, even though I was being given the money, but you don't take, you say no. And I had to go back to that time and reverse it and release it and let it go. And you know what happened as I released that? My sciatica started going away. But my release happened in meditation, in yoga, and in visualizations. And I can talk about that a little bit more. Lungs have to do with taking in life, breath. So why do so many people take such shallow breaths? Now, I guess I'm going to have to do a part 4 or 5. I can't even remember, maybe a part 5. So shallow breathing is one of the worst things that we can do. This is why in meditation and yoga, we call the breath life. The deeper the breath, the more oxygen you get in, the more blood flow you have, the more your lungs are just revitalizing. And you know what's happening? Your heart starts pumping better. Breath is not only important on a medical level, but on a level of life, because the breath is taking in life. How much are you looking at Mother Nature? How much life are you appreciating? Are you just go, work, and not appreciating the little things? I bet you if you take shallow breaths, you are not appreciating the little things in life. Like watching your kids at a hockey game. Are you on your phone the whole time working when your children are playing hockey or swimming or whatever? What are you doing? Your breaths will tell you. Just take a few deep breaths first thing in the morning. Start by that and you will notice your life change. I promise you that. That's how I started. I started with breath when I started my spiritual work. All right, guys, I'm going to have to actually do another video. I think the next video is going to be part 5. Thanks for listening.